Plates are up. Welcome. Welcome. Floor is open.
Thomas on Bracketeer.org. For Jaden, when you got, as the veteran of the group, when you have the youngsters who have acclimated to March Madness over the course of these last week and change or so, what's kind of been the balance like of talking to them about your experiences throughout this tournament and ultimately how they get to adjust to the stage for themselves and beyond?
I mean, they got 2 games under their belt now, so they're pretty familiar with the expectations and everything that's going on. We just try to tell them, it's just a game. It was definitely more important, has a little bit more meaning, but they have great experiences and great leaders. So.
Hey guys, John Macluso, News 4 Tucson. We've kind of Arizona's kind of had a rough time getting out of the Sweet 16 over the last 5 years. We've made it 4 times in the Sweet 16s, but haven't advanced into the Elite Eight. Is there any added pressure for you guys going into this game, thinking, "Hey, we need to do it now"?
I don't really think the past is a predictor of the future. I think we're just worried about, what's next up on our plate, which is Arkansas. So we're going to prepare to the best of our ability, follow the game plan, follow the scout, and, hopefully if we do what we do, we'll be successful.
Yeah, Frank Farinas with the Arkansas Traveler. You just mentioned Arkansas. What are you guys thinking about doing defensively with that backcourt? Malik Thomas, Darius Acuff. What are you looking to throw at them to kind of quell those tough shots that they make?
Just limit their shots. Try and make every shot tough. No easy looks. Crash the glass. Play our normal game. To be honest, it's tough with quick turnarounds and multiple teams you've probably never seen before. So we got to stay true to ourselves and just make it the night as tough as possible for them.
Yeah, Anthony Christensen, HawkSports.com. Jaden, you started your career at Alabama with Nick Pringle. I guess just what's your relationship like with him, and are you looking forward to seeing him tomorrow?
That's definitely my guy. I talk to him, here and there. I'm just excited to play against him. It's always, good going against somebody that, you spent a year with practicing and battling with. So, excited for that, but, just ready to go at it with my guys.
Matthew Ho, The Athletic. Jaden, this is for you as well. But obviously you've been at multiple stops in your career and have kind of seen the changing landscape with the transfer portal and NIL. How do you think those two things and overall a lot of the changes we've seen in college basketball, how do you think that's affected players' relationships with coaches and the programs that they're a part of?
NIL is definitely changing the game, but us players, I feel like we before NIL we just fell in love with the game of basketball and relationships. Can't really speak for other players, but I know guys on this team, we really don't care about that stuff. We don't talk about that stuff. We really love each other. Going in, just playing the game. We love the coaching staff, and we want to get better. And our ultimate goal is to try to reach the next level. So we just try to just encounter that stuff. So.
We got a question over here on the satellite from Wildcats Radio.
Toby, can you hear me? Toby? Yeah, Toby, just you had that stretch where you made 17 consecutive free throws. What was the feel like for you during that stretch? And had you ever been on a long stretch like that in your career?
Could you repeat that last part again? Sorry.
Had you ever been on a long stretch, free throw making stretch like that prior to the 17 in a row you made?
I mean, honestly, it's not something that I keep like a strong mental count of. Just always try to, lock in, take a deep breath, and make as many as possible, during the game. So, if I have, I'm not sure. But again, goal is to always try and make all of them.
Any other questions for our student athletes? Okay, thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate it. to give an opening statement, and then
Yeah,
we'll
for
dive
sure.
right into the questions. So
Okay.
whenever you're ready to begin.
All right. Good afternoon. Wow, that's loud. It's great to be here. Obviously, we're excited for the opportunity. It's a quick turnaround. Haven't played, Sunday evening, so if it feels like that just wrapped up. But we're excited about the next opportunity and the next pursuit.
Jordan Mendoza, USA Today. A little off topic right here, but I saw during the broadcast that they're talking about your aspiring DJ career.
Nice. No, that's not off topic. I'll talk about that all day.
And I was curious, what made you want to become a DJ, and do you feel like you're good at it, getting good
Absolutely not. And it's more of a joke than anything. So let's be honest. But I have been able to develop a great relationship with, Mike Schwartz, AKA Mixmaster Mike, who's a Bay Area guy who will be in the building tomorrow for the game. And he's one of the best DJs of all time, and happened to run with the Beastie Boys for a lot of years. And it's no secret I've always loved the Beastie Boys. So it's just kind of been a little bit of I don't know if a childhood fantasy, but probably a manhood fantasy, for me that's come true. So it's been awesome to have that relationship. No, but what I'll say is people are probably want to talk about other stuff, but just having been able to hang out with him in his studio and stuff, you see a true artist at work, and it's crazy how talented people are. And it's really impressive is when somebody's so talented at something you have no idea about, but you respect the outcome of what they do. It's really cool to see them explain to you the process a little bit. So that's been it's been fun to kind of be able to, get a peek behind the scenes, so to speak.
Alex Dowd, K-Gun. You got a little emotional earlier this season talking about the role that Brian Brigger played for your team. When you're going back and forth and have these quick turnarounds, how important is it to have a dedicated equipment team like this?
Well, another thing I'd love to talk about. I think what you're referring to, though, happened last year. It was at our Cincinnati game. I think, maybe, I get emotional about Briggs every week, so, it's hard to remember. But Brian Brigger is a really important piece of our program. And, he's the equipment manager. But more than that, he's, I kind of joke he's kind of our spirit animal. This guy is so genuine and so authentic, and has, is so, willing to sacrifice anything for us to be successful. It's what makes a program a program. And you have to be more than just about winning basketball games. We're together a lot, and you need people that are willing to put it on the line and sacrifice everything for others to be successful. And he embodies that maybe better than anybody I've ever seen.
Go ahead, right here. Sir, go ahead, please.
Daniel Shee, Hogby.com. Yeah, I think the last time you faced off against Coach Cal dates back to his Memphis days. Just what do you remember about those matchups, and what are you looking forward to most about facing a Coach Cal team again?
Well, yeah, we would play these mid-season, conference season battles between Gonzaga and Memphis back in the day, and they were epic battles. And a vivid memory I have is when he had that thing rolling at Memphis, is Derrick Rose coming down on a fast break, and I've never seen anybody so fast with the ball in their hands in my life. And just, what's so cool about Coach Cal is, everyone has different styles. How he's, with his swag and his personality, been able to manage so many, uber talents over the years has been really, really impressive to watch. Because at the end of the day, let's face it, if you want to be, trying to win the whole thing here, you've got to have really talented players. And Coach Cal has done as good a job as anybody maybe in the history of the game at managing talented players.
Brian Peterson with AZ Desert Swarm. Getting to this round has been pretty much the standard of late at Arizona, but getting past this level, this round hasn't been for a little while. Do you feel you or the players a burden maybe that you need to try to get past that point?
Not really. I don't feel a burden. I know it's easy to create narratives. These are hard basketball games, and I fully respect that. I love this team. I love how this team's built. I think this team's built for the long haul. but I also respect the fact that we're going to have to do it, possession by possession, media timeout to media timeout, game by game, and our opponents are formidable. So obviously we want to be playing Saturday, but we're not going to look past this opportunity or make it like a end all be all, for anything, because it's not that. Our approach to our guys has been normal. Let's just treat this as normal. Like we're playing on 3 days rest instead of 4 days rest. Well, we did that in the Big 12. So, let's just treat this as normal and let's not make it bigger than it really is.
San Jose Mercury News. A lot of young players that are going to marquee this matchup. What does it say about both programs that, there are so many young freshmen that are cornerstones of both teams?
I think it's, Coach Cal, obviously, I just mentioned, is probably as good as anybody at, recruiting and coaching young players, and obviously, Coach K at Duke did a great job. John's doing a great job of that now. And I just think that Arizona's another destination for some of these top young players. Our program's probably not a perfect fit for everybody, but for the right guys, it's a special place. And I think what it says is, if you have coaches that are confident in the culture of their program, it doesn't matter what year you are in school to be able to be a significant contributor. And I know, when the way our freshmen play, I mean, people remind me all the time, like, did you realize your 3 freshmen were the leading scorer last game? No, I didn't realize that, but I also don't, when I'm writing up lineup cards and whatever game plans, I don't write freshmen next to their name either. I just know they're really good basketball players.
Hey, Coach. John Macaluso with News 4 Tucson. I have a story for you, and then I'm hoping to get your response. So the last time Arizona played Arkansas was back in 1994 on April 2nd. At that game, Wilbur was tackled by Tusk, the mascot with Arkansas, and he actually blew out his ACL. So not only did the mascot have a torn ACL from that, but he also had to watch Arizona lose in that Final Four matchup. So I talked to him this morning, and he wanted me to tell you the story and said, obviously, he's rooting for you. But now I'm hoping for your response.
Was he able to play through the ACL tear?
No, he was actually, he was, bad
Tough.
stuff after that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, is there a statute of limitations, or can we get a lawsuit on that? I mean, I think he should get a good lawyer. Call Rafi, maybe. I mean, that's a name I see a lot in Arizona. I don't know. Yeah.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. We've talked about the freshmen quite a bit over the course of the year. Can you talk about Darius Acuff, what challenges he presents, and how does he stack up to the many freshmen that you've played?
I mean, Darius is a supreme talent, and he's a great young man. Obviously, for those that don't know, I was able to coach him in USA basketball 2 summers ago, and he was the MVP of our tournament. And Darius is a serious guy. He doesn't always say a lot. He probably, I was only around him for like three and a half weeks or something, so I'm sure there's, more to him than I saw. But what I know is he's a supreme competitor, and I know that's a guy that's not afraid of the moment, and he has the ability to kind of quote unquote get the eye of the tiger. He has that ability and that mentality to kind of rise up his game, based on the importance of the game. And so I'm sure we're going to get a great effort out of Darius tomorrow. And I even reached out to him, previous to last summer, and I was trying to make a pitch for him to come back and play, for us for the U19s, but he had other plans, and good for him. He's I'm glad maybe he's had a really good season. Maybe I don't know if he got some of the early accolades some of these other freshmen got. But, like I've always said, who cares about early accolades? Because I know he's getting them now, and they're well-deserved, and he's put himself in position to have an incredible opportunity to have a great career.
Josh Dubois with Associated Press. Do you have to coach differently when you have a team, when you're relying on so many freshmen as opposed to when you have a veteran team, or is it
Nope.
pretty much the same?
No, I mean, to me, it's the same approach, and guys, we've been doing stuff on the court almost since June. So, we have a lot of time and a lot of experience together. And you know, I mean, maybe there's some things early to get them up to speed or get them the experience you want to have, and you might have to live with some mistakes that allow for growth opportunities, you know, early. But we're at the point now where I think a lot of lessons have been learned. You know, not that they know it all, not that I know it all, but they're definitely, you know, acclimated, seasoned veterans at this point.
So we have less than 5 minutes, so make your questions quick, please. We have 3 more. Go 1, 2, and 3. That's it. So go, please.
Hey, Tommy. Chris Brown, AZ Cat Sports. Just kind of your overall thoughts on Arkansas. You've talked about Darius and some of the freshmen and talent, but just the scout.
They're putting up video game numbers on offense. And you know, obviously they're electric in transition. They have ability to play up top, you know, in lobs and, you know, kind of the vertical spacing stuff as well as anybody. You know, obviously you got to really take care of the ball against them, you know, to try to, you know, force them to play in the half court. But, you know, what they found in the half court is, you know, I mean, Coach Cal's a vet. He knows how to get guys in the right spots and try to find the right matchups. And they got a guy right now that they're really comfortable putting the ball in his hands. And, you know, he led the SEC in scoring and assists as a freshman. That's pretty impressive. So, you know, they're definitely a tough out. And you know, I mean, to me, when you see them pop up, I don't know, what are they, a 4 seed? Something like that. I mean, for a team to take second in the SEC and you know, win the SEC tournament, be a 4 seed. I mean, yeah, they probably got an argument there. But hey, let's throw the seeds out the window and let's get after it tomorrow.
Schnell, hey Tommy, Lindsay Schnell from The Athletic. We were just in the locker room talking to your 2 point guards. You got a veteran, you got a freshman, and they're roommates, I guess, a lot on the road. I was curious, how important is that, you think, that mentorship role that Jaden has played, and how big has that been in your season's success?
Well, I think it's been a critical component, and I would say, you know, the leadership aspect is really important, but I think just as important is the young player to be open, to being led. You know, to not, because sometimes when you come out of high school, I mean, we all know how we were. You think you know maybe actually more than you really know, and Braden's never been like that. You know, I remember, you know, I mean, obviously it's well documented. Braden didn't start the season off, you know, on fire. And, you know, and he and I had a couple of meetings during that time. And I just had to continue to remind him that these were experiences that he needed to get where he wanted to go. And I think once he started out slow and we had won some tough early games, I think he felt like he didn't want to step on anybody's toes. And so he and I had to have a good talk about that, because I told him, I have a sneaky suspicion, you know, if once this thing clicks for you, you're going to be our leading scorer. And you know, but I think that just says who he is and his character, that, you know, once we started having team success and he wasn't having success, he didn't want to come in and overstep and maybe mess up that team success, because he's such a great young man.
Seth, last one real quick.
Coach Seth Davis, Hoops HQ. Maybe you're glad I'm going last, but you may have heard there's an opening in Chapel Hill. Your name is being bandied about pretty prominently. I don't know if you want to make news or address that too specifically, but I would think at a relatively early point in your head coaching career, the fact that when the best jobs in America open up, your name is thrown into that must be pretty nice. So take that anywhere you want.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks. I preferred the first question about Mixmaster Mike. What I'll say, Seth, is I already have one of the best jobs in the country. And one thing we talk about in our program all the time, and I think I've gotten better at, and I think our team's been crushing it this year, is just the ability to have full focus and be present in the moment. And so I think we have a great team. I think we have a chance to advance in this tournament game by game, but I'm not delusional. I know we could lose tomorrow, but this team deserves my full focus. So there's not one thing that is going to knock me off my path. I'm 100% focused on Arizona basketball and this program, and I can't wait till the ball gets thrown up tomorrow, and then can't wait to try to figure out a way to come out on top.
Coach, thanks for the time. Greatly appreciate
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.